UY Scuti, BD 125055, is a red hypergiant almost 8,000 light-years away in the constellation of Shroom. This is one of the largest stars known to man, with a radius over 17 billion kilometers or 10 quadrillion miles in diameter. That's big. If you want to know more about this gargantuan star, stay tuned. Welcome back, star lovers. In this episode of Space in a Minute, we're talking about UY Scuti, a red hypergiant almost 8,000 light-years away in the constellation of Scutum. You may be asking yourself, what's that? Well, let me tell you. Scutum is one of 88 modern constellations defined by the International Astronomical Union and is Latin for shield. It is one of 4 constellations that make up the lesser-known Corona Australis, which is the southern or lesser crown. The other 3 constellations are Corona Australis, which is the southern or lesser crown, Musca, which is the fly, and Norma, which is the plum or the square. Sculptor was originally an asterism, or a smaller group of stars within the constellation Corona Australis, but it was given its own status in the early 16th century by the Polish astronomer and mathematician Nicholas Copernicus. It is the smallest of the 48 original constellations listed by Ptolemy, covering an area of only 663 square degrees and ranks 30th in size. Despite being small, it can be found in the northern hemisphere sky during summer nights. Its neighboring constellations are Aquila to the east, Sagittarius to the south, Serpens to the west, and Ophiuchus lies just beyond Serpens. Within Scutum, we find our subject, UY Scuti. UY Scuti, formerly known as BD 125055, is a red supergiant, which is already a pretty cool name and is almost 8,000 light-years away. Now, this star is truly massive. According to some sources, it has a radius of 17.8 billion kilometers, which is equivalent to 10 quadrillion miles, or 11.5 times the radius of our Sun. However, according to NASA, it is 16 times larger than our Sun. In terms of luminosity, NASA states that it's 1,000 times brighter than our Sun. But some sources claim that it's as much as 3,000 times more luminous than our star. Also, NASA points out that it is a pulsating variable star, and by that they mean that its brightness changes over time. It has a maximum brightness of 8.9 and a minimum brightness of 9.4. So it's not a binary star, which is 2 stars orbiting around a common center of mass like Alpha Centauri. Rather, it's a single star whose brightness fluctuates because it expands and contracts periodically. In fact, the star is classified as a red hypergiant variable with a spectral type of M hypergiant. Red hypergiants are the most luminous of the red giants and are relatively rare. Hypergiant variables are large, extremely luminous stars that change in brightness and size over time. They are thought to be in a very late stage of stellar evolution before going supernova and becoming a neutron star or a black hole. At its brightest, UY Scuti is 9th magnitude as seen from Earth. Now, as I mentioned earlier, UY Scuti is located a few degrees north of the A-type star Gamma Scuti and northeast of the Eagle Nebula. It is also near another interesting star called Y Scuti, which is a blue hypergiant with an apparent magnitude of 6.2. Gamma Scuti is a bright star with an apparent magnitude of 2.69, making it the 3rd brightest star in the constellation after Procyon and Alpha Scuti. It is also the 14th brightest star in the night sky. Gamma Scuti is about 500 light-years away and has around 200 times the luminosity of our Sun. However, its radius is almost 9 times larger than that of our star. Thus, its radius is almost 1 billion kilometers or 648 million miles in diameter. That's huge. Gamma Scuti is also a very young star, estimated to be only 7 million years old. For comparison, our Sun is about 4.6 billion years old. The star has a bluish color, which indicates that it is very hot. In fact, its surface temperature is estimated to be around 13,000 kelvins, which is around 3 times hotter than the Sun. UY Scuti is a fascinating star, and it is one of the largest stars in the night sky, although it is still smaller than some recently discovered stars such as V354 Cep and RBS 1249, which are red hypergiants in the Cepheus and Bootes constellations, respectively. Both of these stars have radii around 20 billion kilometers or 12 quadrillion miles. Unfortunately, both of them are significantly more distant than UY Scuti. V354 Cep is around 12,000 light-years away, and RBS 1249 is 22,000 light-years away, meaning that their apparent magnitudes are much dimmer than that of UY Scuti. If they were as close to us as UY Scuti, they would easily be the largest stars in the sky. As mentioned earlier, UY Scuti is located within the constellation Sculptor, which is home to several other notable deep-sky objects like the Sculptor Galaxy Cluster. Able 2255 is a rich galaxy cluster located in the constellation Sculptor. It is one of the closest major galaxy clusters to us, lying about 330 million light-years away. The cluster contains hundreds of galaxies of various shapes and sizes. It is a rich source of deep sky objects for astronomers to study, providing insights into topics like dark matter and the formation of large-scale structures in the universe. Another famous object in the constellation is the Sculptor Dwarf Galaxy. It is a small galaxy located in the Sculptor constellation and is one of the satellite galaxies of the Milky Way. It is situated approximately 290,000 light-years away from Earth. This galaxy is notable for its irregular shape and is thought to have been disrupted by the gravitational forces of the Milky Way. It has an apparent magnitude of 11.8 and is best observed during the winter months. To see this galaxy, you will need a large telescope, but the good news is that it's not too far from Earth. It's located in the Sculptor constellation, which is visible in the southern hemisphere during the winter months. The Sculptor Dwarf Galaxy is a great target for amateur astronomers who want to get a closer look at one of our satellite galaxies. UY Scuti is a beautiful star, and it is a reminder of the vastness and wonder of the universe. If you enjoyed learning about this massive star, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We have a ton of videos about astronomy and astrophysics that you might enjoy, including my personal favorite, What's Happening in the Cores of Stars. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.